Yo, what's good, y'all? You Dub back here again here in 2019. Let's get it. Sorry if I sound a little bit under the weather. It was a bit of a rough day, but we in here. We're here to talk about a promised video. This is episode 6 of my Unfiltered series. And for those of you who may be fresh to this series of videos that so far is exclusively on this channel, hopefully maybe a podcast or something will come out of it. These type of videos are raw, 1000% just uncut. I mean, already doing cut, but it's just unvarnished, hard hitting, real talk that I do in these videos about a number of different types of subjects that affect us in our world today. Now, as I mentioned in episode at the end of episode 5, this video spawns from a conversation I had with a gentleman at this point, probably like 2 weeks ago or so. Okay, I was with a homie Eric. Homie, how does he say? Alchemist. Why can't I? Analytical Alchemist, I believe he goes by on his channel. He's finally get that thing up and running, so I can finally shout out his channel. Alchemic, Analytical Alchemist. Excuse me. I believe that's how you say his channel. Saying. And this gentleman, I don't even know how we got on this conversation. Okay, but he was trying to say, eventually it led down to George Soros, and who I call him the boogeyman. I didn't even know who this cat was until maybe mid 2018, maybe. Friend of mine and Analytical Alchemist, Margaret, she had brought it up. And still to this day, looked into him a little bit. Still to this day, don't really know who George Soros is. Don't really care to know who Soros is. Soros to me is a little fish in a big pond. Okay, he doesn't have any political power. He doesn't have any power, period. You say, well, he's wealthy. Yeah, there's other guys who are wealthier. Like, stop it. Stop it. But anyways, so he got him about Soros and he kept talking about Ukraine. He's like, but there's other puppets. And I'm like, so it's Ukraine. I don't care. Ukraine's not a big world player. And I'm not being disrespectful to Ukrainians. I'm being honest. Right? Y'all know I'm completely 100% objective and neutral when it comes to these videos. This is purely honest. Ukraine has been like the stuff the guy was telling me, and I kept telling, and he kept going on and on. And eventually, I'm like, I try to speak up. He's like, "You're interrupting." No, bro, give me a chance to speak. And so, real power versus fake power. First and foremost, before I get into what I mean by this will probably be a shorter video than most of the other ones because there ain't too much to talk about it. Even though I can go into great historical examples, but you'll get the gist of it. So, what is power? Well, you could pull up Merriam-Webster's definition. I know physics has its own definition, but I think the simplified physics definition is the ability to do work. Okay, if you extend that to how we often use it, it's the power to be influential. Um, Powers to be influential, to be able to make moves, to be able to have things work. Someone we would consider powerful would be a don of a mafia family, right? Uh, that's what we call, guys who are called shot callers. Okay, if we're talking street lingo, um, the CEO of a company has power. Now, they may not have ultimate power. It depends. They might have a board of directors, may have be to stockholders and shareholders, maybe to that. Um, but usually it's the heads, or in some cases, for example, you have a king who is a figurehead. You have the aristocracy, or the ones who really call the shots, the ones who determine the policy of a nation. Okay, so it's whoever pulls the reins. Some families, even though the man may be the face, it's the woman, the mom, the wife behind the scenes really has the power. The families. A lot of people don't understand about the Victorian era, but upper middle class families, the man might have been out there, and yeah, he had power in the public sense, but who really ran the household? It was the mom. The wife. She had governesses. She would run the finances and the income. She was pretty much running things. Okay, so that's power. Power is you speak, they move. Okay? Think of a warlord who has an entire army at his beck and call, pretty much. Um, think of generals. Okay? Generals gathered in the masses. Yes. Love War Pigs by Black Sabbath, by the way. But yeah, think of those kind of things. If you're in the Naruto, you have the Kages. They had power, for the most part. If you're in the One Piece, the Yonko, Shichibukai to a degree. The Admirals and Fleet Admiral, of course, Commander in Chief Kong. The Gorosei definitely have power. The Celestial Dragon is kinda. It's strange with them. That's power. Reputation, the ability for people to feel you. Luffy's on the rise was power. That's why they teach that, boy, you're not ready. It wasn't just a power play. It was the influence that Luffy has, but he's slowly, gradually gaining that power. Okay, it's not just his bounty, it's not just his power level. It's literally the influence he has as a pirate on New World of One Piece. But he's getting there. Okay, it's power. We're watching the rise to power in the story of Luffy. Even if it's unintentional, it doesn't matter. It kind of goes along the lines, even though he was talking about like pure strength and power in this regard. What Uchiha Madara talked about, justice is meaningless without power to back it up. And that's true. You can want justice all you want to, but if you don't have the ability to enact and enforce that justice, and I'm not saying be tyrannical, but you have to be able to impact the world, is what I'm saying. That's real power. And if the issue I had with the whole Soros thing boiled down to this: Soros has influencers. That's not power, bro. If Soros was truly powerful, he's one of these real big dogs in the yard, to use a Roman Reigns reference. He would doggone say it and it gets done. You feel me? He would be able to influence a congressman or congresswoman, a representative, a senator, the president himself, El Presidente, right? So that's power. When you're able to get things, that's why lobbying is a thing in this nation, regardless if you agree or disagree with it. I personally don't, but I get it. It's being able to move those power players, power. Being able to sway a judge. If you go back to the old mafia example with the mob, where they had judges and lawyers in their pockets, that's power, bro. Power. Okay. So I'm setting this up, and you normally we're talking more so politically, but you could have social power. You can have influence on a nation. You can have it to where people, you know, you look at Pac, you look at Kurt Cobain, you look at, they said something. You had millions upon millions of people reacting to that. Michael Jackson had social power. You see, after his death, people were weeping. Israel, Russian, all across the globe, they were literally weeping. That's social power, where people, you say something, they listen. They're impacted by your words and your deeds. That's power, fam. Okay. Some people have titles, but they have no power. They have no people don't respect them. They don't listen to them. They're like, whatever, dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever you say. Then in that situation, it's almost like with children, and parents. It's a great example because there's some families where the children are like, yeah, 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 whatever. My mom, dad said, no, no, no. That's no. Their parents have no power. They have no say. They have no influence and sway. There's other families been there where dad and mom speak. You better damn well listen. Okay, that's power. Right? You got to think on in a large scale, macro, mega scale, or in a small, minute, micro scale. You got to think both. See, when you're talking about concepts, you have to understand that they have to relate in a totality, in a comprehensive, holistic manner. You can't just have something and isolate it as an isolated variable, and put that isolated variable out there. That means you have an incomplete set. It's like trying to say, "Oh, I'm boxing by just jabbing." No, there's the right straight, the cross, the hook, the uppercut, and other manners of punchings. Okay, same thing with defense. As trying to come out here and playing basketball defense, and you only have a 2-3 defense. No, there's a 3-2. There's a basketball. There are plenty of other defenses you can run out there. You know, and that's part of the issue that we have today is that people are so tunnel vision. They're so narrow minded when it comes to concepts that they miss the boat. A lot of times, entrepreneurs, how they're successful is they don't miss the boat. Now they're focused on one endeavor that's their most successful, but they understand the concepts of success, of entrepreneurship in their whole view. Now, as you get older, experienced, and more mature, this develops more. But you have to understand the foundations and what gets you to those high levels of success over time and being able to maintain those. Part of the reasons that the Patriots have such success, and I know I'm talking power, but power and success kind of go hand in hand in this regard. Why the Patriots are so successful for so long, they've built a formula, they built a system, they built a culture, and where Bill Belichick has a lot of power, and they respect that, and people listen to Bill Belichick because Bill Belichick, they know that they trust Bill Belichick, and here's the power play. They trust Bill Belichick to do what he has to do. Why would the wealthy elite put a person in position of power to rule them or to lead them? Because they're like, this person has our interests at heart. We trust. There's an element of trust to it, you know. It doesn't mean that everybody trusts you, but you have the right people to trust you. The voter base, when they select a candidate, it's a at least to a degree, sense of trust. Whether it been Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton in the last election, or Bernie Sanders, you know, you have Tulsi Gabbard coming up. There's an element of that this person actually has. Who, whatever my view, I may disagree on some issues, but overall, I have a sense of trust that this person is going to do. Now, others may disagree, but then again, they don't trust that person, so they don't support that person. You see how this works? A business, you know, businesses have economic power because they get the trust of the people with branding, with you know, salesmanship, good customer service, the location as well. They have a clean facility. If they have a physical facility, they get the shit there on time. They're able to get forth the products. They're able to have your products when promised. There's a lot of trust and promises here on a professional level. And I know I'm combining a lot of things, but this all leads to the point that I'm making. On a professional level, we expect, if you're a carpenter, we expect a certain degree of work. A tiler, a plumber, okay, electrician, and the trade jobs. If you're, you know, if you're a lawyer, I expect you to do such and such. If you're a professional, if you're a doctor, whatever your craft is, if you're a professional athlete, I expect certain things. Okay? When we say you're trash or not good, if I say a pro wrestler, I'm not really a fan of. Now you can get better. Like Roman Reigns getting better. I had for the longest time issues with Dolph Ziggler. Still can improve, but when I say I don't, Daniel Bryan and others, when I say because there are certain aspects that you're not meeting to the standard that I have to what a legitimate pro wrestler is. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're complete garbage. It means that you're failing in a number of areas where you may be successful here, or you're getting pushed, and I don't like the push because I don't think it's organic. Things of that nature. But anyways, all that to be said is there are a number of degrees that establish power. Okay, power doesn't just happen. All right. When I talk about vacuum of power, balance of powers, things of that nature, that doesn't just happen. There are reasons as to why it happens, for better or for worse. That's the way it goes. And power can be fluid and it can change. Now, if there's a giant behemoth leviathan of a structure, it's hard for the power system to change, but it can be changed. We've seen it happen a number of times throughout human history in a variety of ways: economics, politics, socially, you name it. Okay. It's just when I remember I talk about the trust element. Even if people can't stand something, they're afraid of change. They're afraid of new. People say, "Oh, I want you." No, no, no. They want a novelty. They want temporary change, but they don't like big changes. Honey, you said we got to move where? But what about friends and family? What about the kids' school and da da da? You see? Okay, people don't like change. So real power versus fake power. Now, I brought up the case, as you've heard me speak in multiple of these videos: John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and J.P. Morgan. When they pretty much bought the presidency with William McKinley. That's power. Okay? You can pretty much install a president into a seat of power. That's power, bro. No two ways about it. Power. When John D. Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, and Andrew Carnegie, as well as Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt, literally built industries. Literally built industries. Carnegie with his steel. and eventually U.S. Steel got bought out by J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan was the House of Morgan. His father built a banking empire, and then J.P. Morgan started going into various enterprises. Okay, J.P. Morgan was a large reason as to why Edison, Thomas Edison, and Nikola Tesla. I think it Tesla more so because Edison wouldn't play ball, but why we have electricity, with the lights and everything. When it comes to John D. Rockefeller, first it was kerosene, but gasoline overall, oil, became an oil tycoon. And you just go from there. And so these men had real power. Currently, Jeff Bezos. Look at how much Amazon. He went from to all these things that Amazon does. That's power. And when you look at it, are they doing from an economic perspective? They're providing products and services better than everybody else. They're out competing. And you may not agree with some of their methods. Some of them kind of be cutthroat and whatever the case may be. But people use them. Why? Because bro, they do it better than everybody else. It's just how it works. If you want to get to that level, you got to be better than everybody else. You got to outcompete. You got to provide a better product and service. You got to be able to do it on a large enough scale to get to that power. Now, the thing about monopolization, people, and I'm anti, I can do entire videos, entire books on why I'm opposed to antitrust laws. Here's the thing: monopolies only exist because of governments. There's so much governmental red tape that allows for competition to not be able to be implemented. Okay, and so there's that. If you have competition, then you have taken away from that economic power, and they only have power because people buy their products. Don't get it twisted and think that these companies are these super giants. You say, well, they buy products, yeah, to their favor. But the thing is, if people stop buying their products, Amazon's tanking. We've seen it with a number of industries. We see, like, why do you rarely hear industries like companies lasting for 50 to 100 years? Because there are other factors. There are people who come in. You get competitions from your McDonald's and your Wendy's, your Burger King, etc. See what I'm saying? There are ways to compete, but you got to be able to. And there's a high failure rate when it comes to companies because I can get into that reasons as to why companies fail. I might need to do that in my next episode. But the thing is, they have power because they affect the way they influence the way we buy. They influence our buying habits. They influence the way we run the economy runs. That's power. Real power. El Presidente Donald Trump has some real power. Certain congressmen don't really have power and others do. Whether you like her or not, Nancy Pelosi has power. Okay, where they say you listen. Okay, I don't think I need to go into too in depth. Y'all kind of get that sense. But some of these people, just because they're a senator or a representative, doesn't mean they have power, bro. Nobody cares about them. Dr. Ron Paul had say, okay. Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, she had say, okay. That's power. Um, Supreme Court justices have a hell of a lot of power. 9 people determine what's constitutional and what's not. And people go by what the Constitution says, or mainly should, anyways. The IRS, I call it the largest, most powerful mob in the entire world. The IRS has power. The FDA has power. Don't realize that. CIA, the FBI. You've heard me say, don't make enemies with no face. Okay, and you can go into other entities. And how do you know if someone or something has power? Look at the impact that that entity has on the world around him or it, right? Run around her or it. Some people have a lot of money, they don't have no power. We don't say that the Donald Trump's children have power like the pops does. See what I'm saying? Same thing in Hollywood. You can name the names who have powers, from actors and actresses to directors. They have power. They have say. Oh, we need to get this person the money because people are gonna come. They're influential. People rock with them. See what I'm saying? Unexpected Wonder, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on the matter. And till next time, y'all have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace. And if there is any other conversations or topics you want me to discuss, any subjects, I will gladly, hopefully, be able to get to those in a timely manner. All right, y'all.